Welcome to First Time Feast. I'm Bobby Perko. On this channel, we're going to be exploring all kinds of different genres of food and show you how to take the fear out of cooking in the kitchen. Today, we are going to be knocking out some Cajun shrimp Alfredo. First thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our baby portobello mushrooms. You can use really any type of mushroom here. It's just going to add a little bit of extra to it. Like my fiance, she's really not a huge mushroom fan, so I have to sneak them in sparingly. I bet you all know have people in the family that are like that. We're going to give all of our vegetables here just a quick little slice and dice. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. We got our red bell pepper, our yellow bell pepper. They're all going to go into the same place, so you want to really keep the cutting consistency. It doesn't really matter how you cut it, but keep everything consistent. You don't want a big, huge chunk of something when you bite into it. You want a nice mouthfeel. So we're going to grab our onion. I'm going with a sweet onion. Sweet onions I love to do in this type of cooking. It gives it a nice little bite of the caramelization of it. It's just going to go really good in your field. So we're going to get that onion all chopped up. We're going to get that sliced over here. We're going to grab some bacon. So for today's video, we just went with some cheap bacon. I went over to my local store here, and they had some Marky Mark and the Boys bacon. This bacon, I wouldn't really recommend it on a normal meal, but this is just one of those things where, hey, it's what they had, so it's readily available, and that's just how it's going to go. But we're going to add our bacon to the skillet. We're going to get that spread out here and let that start to reduce all those flavors and the caramelization from that bacon, that grease. That's going to be a key factor to cooking the rest of this stuff down here later. The type of cheese that I'm going to use for this dish is going to be a Parmesan cheese. Again, you can really use a Havarti, you can use a Gouda, you can use a cheddar if you want. I had Parmesan on hand, so a lot of times with cooking, it's really just what you got on hand. The recipe really calls for what you have. I mean, there might be specific things like a carbonara where you have to use Parmesan, but for this, really whatever you have available is going to be great. Personally, the noodle of choice that I like to use for this is a farfalle. You can use an Alfredo, or you can use a linguine, or you can use a fettuccine, but I like those little bow ties, man. They just are a nice little one biter that you can get everything going. So flash over to the bacon. It's pretty much done, so we're going to try to leave as much grease in the skillet as we possibly can. We're going to use that for cooking down the rest of our vegetables. So for the shrimp, we're going to go toss in our shrimp. We're going to toss in our garlic. We're going to hit it with all that extra seasoning. We got some garlic pepper. We got some garlic. We got some black pepper. We got some slappy old mama. We got to hit it with that slappy old mama. Now, if you're going to watch this video, I'm going to hit this thing probably 3, 4, maybe 5 times with that slappy old mama. It is one of my favorite seasonings. I mean, some people use Tony's. But man, that stuff, it's just too salty. I like to do that slap. They have the yellow, they have the red, and I just found they have a white version now. That's unbelievable. I love it, I love it, I love it. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. You stay the course. I'll keep using you in all my videos as you'll come to watch. So what we're gonna do with these shrimp, we're gonna get these things going. Shrimp cook really fast. So as you notice, when we first tossed those in, they were kind of a grayish blue, and then we cooked them down to a nice little pink. You don't want to cook them all the way through because we're going to toss them back into this Alfredo sauce later on, and they're going to continue to cook. So we're going to pull those aside, set them over there with our bacon, and let them kind of hang out together for a little while. So now what we can do, toss in our bell peppers. Bell peppers are going to take a little bit of the longest time to cook down. They require a little bit of TLC. So add those in there. We're going to splash them with some olive oil. We're going to help them out. We're going to hit it with some more slappy mama, some more Cajun seasoning. We're going to hit it with some cayenne and some paprika. Add our onions in there. We're going to give them a nice little stir, and then let those go on the top for a couple of minutes, and that's going to start to reduce and caramelize before our next step. Alright, so we're going to hit it with a little bit more olive oil, then toss in our mushrooms. So mushrooms, they do have a little bit of liquid in there, so once those things, and same with the bell peppers and the onions, once those start to cook down, they're going to start to release that moisture, and it's going to, give you a little bit more sizzle in that stovetop. That sizzle that you're hearing is actually the water evaporating out of there. It's actually not anything burning. It's just the steam escaping the produce, and it's going up into the atmosphere. So now, hit this thing once, hit this thing twice with some pepper. We're going to hit some salt. We're going to add some garlic. A lot of people like to season at the end of the dish. Man, no way. I got to season all the way through. That just helps add a little bit more flavor, and it encapsulates the fullness and the richness of that dish. So don't forget about your noodles. We want to give those a quick little stir. If you put in your noodles and you just walk away and forget it, you're going to run into this thing called a super noodle. Like, your noodles are going to get all stuck together and be all clumpy. That's gross. That's terrible. I don't know how many times you've gone to a restaurant or a friend's house and they give you these old clumped together noodles. That's not what you want. So flipping on back over here, so you could use olive oil throughout, or you could use butter. Butter does have a higher match point, so it can't ignite your food. When I say ignite your food, it can burn your food a lot faster. If you cook with oil, cook with oil. If you cook with butter, cook with butter, but just don't walk away from it because it can burn really, really fast. So everything is better with a stick of butter. It's just going to add that richness and that creaminess later on. So since we are doing an Alfredo, we want to use a non-salted butter here. So here I go again, man. I'm slapping it again. We absolutely love the Slap Your Mama. This is the Slap Your Mama Red. So for those of you that like that little bit of kick, that like that spiciness, this one's definitely a lot spicier than the yellow. But for me, man, this is one of my favorites. You'll see me use this thing throughout a lot of my videos. So let's take a close-up on this. Let's look. So the onions, let's take a look at those. They're starting to get a little bit translucent. They're starting to kind of cook through. The bell peppers, you can tell they're sweating. They're starting to get done. We're going to add our heavy cream now. The rest of it's going to cook throughout, but that heavy cream is going to be the base of this Alfredo. So we got that butter in there. We got the heavy cream in there. We're going to probably season this thing again with some salt and some pepper. That heavy cream was a little bit light, so we're gonna add a little bit more to it. It's all about the feel. I'm gonna give you the full list of ingredients and directions at the end of this video, so don't worry about trying to follow along. So now that we got this thing added in here with our extra heavy cream, we're gonna add our Parmesan cheese. This thing is gonna start thickening up. We want to give this thing a little bit of a taste and just see how we're looking. So tastes pretty good, but honestly we need a little bit more. So we're gonna hit it again with that black pepper, hit it again with that Cajun seasoning. We're gonna hit it again with that garlic powder. This thing is going to have so much flavor jam packed into it. Your mouth's not going to know what hit you. It's going to be like a 1-2 punch, man. It's going to be so good. All right, so now that this thing is cooked on the stove top for a while and that sauce is starting to thicken, we're going to add in our noodles to it. Noodles can be another form of a thickening agent, so if you're worried about your sauce being too thin or too runny, add some noodles to it. You can add some cheese to it, and then honestly crank your temperature up just a little bit, but don't do too much because it'll start to burn. But that's another thing that'll do to help thicken this up. So one of the last things we got to do to finish this dish is just hit it with our garnish. So I went to 3 or 4 different stores today looking for some parsley, and not one store had some fresh parsley, so we had to go with the canned stuff. But hey, add a little bit of greenery. It's going to make everything look a little bit pretty. And everything look a little bit better. We're going to hit it with our parsley. We're going to hit it with our Parmesan cheese. And man, this thing is ready to go. I can't wait to try this thing. Look at that. That is an unbelievably beautiful dish. I can't wait for y'all to try this at home. Please follow me and see what we do in the future episodes. Thank you all for joining me today. As you can see, this was a super easy process. It didn't take a lot of time in the kitchen. Please comment below on what you would like to see on further episodes. Also, please like and subscribe and share my content. Thank you all for joining me. Have a nice day. And conquering your fucking. I up.
Get back here. Get back here.
I got him.
Do it. You don't need the list. You don't need the note.
Okay.
What are we conquering?
Hey. Yeah. This is so dumb. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. This thing really will be slapping your mama. Oh yeah, you hear that sloshing? Those are noises.